Hello again and welcome to Shed Talk, my weekly magazine video series looking at the keeping, breeding and showing of cage birds with a particular focus on exhibition style budgerigars. Well, this episode this week will mainly focus on the breeding side of that, so the breeding of the budgerigars. It's likely that this episode will be slightly shorter than the normal episodes just because I am really busy this week with work and other things, so I don't have a great deal of time to do recording, but we will cover a full roundup of the breeding cages, so cages 1 to 5, and we'll also look to see a new pair to go into cage number 6. So there will be a full roundup of all of the breeding cages, so we can see where we've got with that. As always, if you do enjoy this episode or any other of the episodes, don't forget to give the episode a big thumbs up, so like the episode. And of course, if you're not yet a subscriber to the channel, then do hit the subscribe button, and for early notifications then hit the bell icon. Right, let's get straight on with it then and have a look at cage number 1 and see how that particular pair is getting on. Well, in the last episode I did mention that the breeding season can be a bit of a, at its highs and lows, I suppose, a stressful time of the year, and full of, expectation, letdown, and I suppose moments where everything seems to be going really well. And this, you'll see from this roundup that it's been a bit like that with these latest pairs that have gone in. I think we ended the last episode on a bit of a high. It didn't all turn out the way I had hoped. Sorry, I am being really distracted by a pair in the cage that are quite clearly pair bonded, but I think they might be a little bit too closely related. So I will get them out and we'll have a look at them. And if they're not that close, I think it's grandfather to granddaughter, so that may be okay, but they appear to be pair bonded and currently mating in the flight, so it may be worth putting them in anyway. So as I was saying, a bit of ups and downs for this year, but we will of course start with pair or cage number 1, which I think is my pair number 13. So we are then at cage 1, which is pair number 13, and this is a opaline cinnamon dominant pied cockbird that we've paired to a cinnamon light green. They've been in the cage a little while now, and as you can probably see from these pictures, the hen has begun clearing the nest box out, and indeed the nest box is virtually clear now. I will start adding a little bit more nesting material to this nest box just to keep her going, so we know that she's been in there. There were some very early signs that there might be some big poos there. I've not seen them mating, but that's not to say they haven't been. So I'm reasonably hopeful with this pair now that this hen and this cockbird will at least produce some eggs and hopefully produce me some youngsters. So there we go, that is the pair that is in cage number 1. Like I say, we'll hopefully see some eggs very shortly off of this particular pair. Right, so that's cage number 1, which is, I suppose a little bit of a thumbs up, so a little bit of a positive note for that particular pair. So let's have a look now then at cage number 2. So cage number 2 then, which is my pair number 14, both light green, so a light green cockbird that's actually off of the green family, that we paired to a light green hen that's off of the blue family. So I did say when I put these two together that I quite like this pairing, but so far they're not showing any signs, or the hen's not showing any signs of going in the nest box. If she is, it's very minor at the moment, but it is still early days for this particular pair, so we will give them, you know, another good couple of weeks to see if they do, or that, you know, they are compatible, and that she does decide that it's time for her to start thinking about breeding. So like I say, so unlike pair 1, which was all systems go, pair 2 a little bit delayed, I suppose, in terms of thinking about how this particular pair might end up, but who knows, it's still early days. I do like this particular pair. I have said it, I would like to get something off of this cockbird. He's quite a smart looking cockbird, so and we know that the blue family, which is what the hen's from, has a you know, really nice ancestry. So there's some nice birds in that. So the cobalt, their father, and also the grandfather, which is a sky blue, that we will have a look at right at the end of this episode actually. So we know that those are quite smart birds, so I'm hopeful that this pair will produce something, and what they do produce will actually be some quite nice looking youngsters. So there we go, that is cage number 2. We'll now move on to cage number 3. But those of you that watched the last episode will know that it has been quite a successful nest so far. Has that success continued? So cage number 3, this pair should need no real introduction. We spoke about this pair in the last episode. So it's a cinnamon sky blue that we paired to a dark green hen. The sky blue is from the yellowface family, and the hen is from the blue family off of the cobalt. So this pair went down nice and quickly. Hen cleared the nest box and has laid. You may remember that she's laid a total of 8 eggs, of which the first 5 were definitely full. We had an adult egg in the first one, and we, at the end of the last episode, you know, you would have seen that we had the second egg hatched. Unfortunately, the next day that chick had died. So far, no more of the eggs have hatched. I'm a little bit worried that the third egg may just be addled as well. What I have done is I've taken all of the eggs out, and I've added a little bit more bed into this, and then pop the eggs back in. This serves 2 purposes from my point of view. The first one is that the cockbird does go into the nest box quite a lot, and I'm a little bit worried that with there not being a massive, there wasn't a lot of nesting material in there, which isn't, you know, a major issue from my point of view if it's just a hen in there. But with the cockbird in there, I'm a bit worried that he might be upsetting the eggs a little bit, and also it may have been him that was getting in the way of the hen feeding. And with that extra bit of nesting material, it will A, mean the eggs are less likely to roll about, and secondly that when the next chick does hatch, you know, touch wood, when the next chick does hatch, it will be kept nice and secure underneath the hen, and we'll have a little bit of room under there, so the hen won't be sat too tightly on top of it. That's my hope. I did think that the hen had fed the chick that died, so I'm not sure it was totally down to the hen not feeding it, but it may well have been that she, you know, it was just a weak chick. I don't know. So really disappointed here, because, you know, we said this is one of my favourite pairs that we put down. It's sort of, I suppose, the pair I would most like to get some chicks off of. But you know, we're getting there with this pair. We've got full eggs. We have had eggs hatched. We just need that final stage with that next stage where the youngster will survive that first 24-hour, 48-hour period, which is, you know, almost that next danger period from my point of view. If they survive those 48 hours, we're well on the way to having chicks survive the nest box. Right, so like I say, a bit disappointing in cage number 3, but you know, as I say, we've got some. There is a chance that we're going to get some chicks off of this. If not in this round, then certainly in the next round. The problem I've got is obviously the other pairs have either just been put in, or as you're about to see, have just started laying. So I've got nowhere to move the chicks or the eggs to, as I did with the ring number 1 chick, where we had a similar problem with hen not feeding, and we managed to move the last egg to a pair that were known feeders and that had clear eggs that were due to hatch at the same time as that egg was due to hatch. Don't have that luxury this time. One of the problems of having a fairly small number of feeding cages. Anyway, let's move on now and have a look at cage number 4. So cage number 4, this was my mistake cage, from those of you that watched the last episode. So it does contain a cinnamon grey-green cockbird that we've paired to a dark green hen. The cockbird is from the grey family, the dark green hen is from the blue family, so this was the one where I left the cage door shut, which meant that the hen couldn't actually physically access the nest box. So it's the cage door that opens out to allow where the nest box is fitted. That's now been rectified. You saw that I rectified it in the last episode. Has the hen started to go in there? My gut feeling is no, although there have been a couple of feathers in the nest box, but they look to me like they're from the cockbird, so they look like a grey cinnamon feather. So whether the cockbird's been going in there, but there's no real disturbance of the nesting material, the bedding material that's in there. So at the moment I'm thinking not, but given that, you know, in reality I've only just opened this nest box, you know, only last week, so I will give these a good, you know, 2 or 3 weeks now to see whether the hen does decide to go in there. Now that, now that the nest box is fully open to them. So yeah, as I say, my mistake, but there we go. It's they're all now, it is now open, and we may or may not, she may or may not decide to go. It might be that, you know, she's gone beyond the time now, having been brought into condition by trying to get into the nest box. It might be that she just needs to go back through her cycle again. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see how that one works out. Right. Before we get we look at the new pair for cage number 6, let's have a look at cage number 5, which actually is a bit of an up. So with all the problems we've had, this one is a bit of a success, I suppose. So cage number 5 is a opaline cinnamon cobalt cockbird that's actually off of the yellowface family, and we paired that to a light green that again is from the blue family. This pair, you might remember from the last episode, I said that she had cleared the nest box, but there was no real sign that she was laying. She has now just started to lay, so we've got the first egg, you can see it here. We have the first egg from this bird in here, and we're expecting the second egg soon. I haven't not yet candled this egg. It'll probably be another 4 or 5 days before I candle the first egg. I do like to give them a little while before I candle them, so I can be absolutely certain. I know a lot of people, you know, and I've done it, where you can candle it after, you know, about certainly 3 or 4 days, you can see whether or not it's full or not. I like to give them between 6 and 8, just so I can be absolutely certain. So I haven't candled it yet, but, you know, again, touch wood, we might just get something off of this one. Like I say, a bit of a success. We've got over that first or the second challenge, you know, the challenge of getting her to clear the nest box, and now she's done that, we've got her laying. The next major stage is to see if we've got any of the eggs are likely to be full. So there we go, that's a roundup of all of the breeding cages, or a very quick roundup of all of the breeding cages. What I will do now is get that pair out of the flight. I'll have a look at how closely they are related, and make a decision then as to whether or not we're going to pair them up. I'm inclined to say yes, just because of how how bonded they are in that main flight, and I'd be, I suppose, a little bit worried that she might even just start laying eggs in the flight. Anyway, so let's grab them out, pop them into the show cage, and we'll take a quick look at what will become, I think, pair number 15 in cage number 6. So this is the next pair that we're going to put into the breeding cages. I said I thought they were quite close in the when I mentioned it, that I spotted them mating in the flight, and I'm right, they are quite closely related. So with that in mind, I will need to think about what I put any offspring to these two, so why am I pairing them? Right, well, the first thing is they are quite clearly pair bonded in the flight. You may see them here that they have been feeding each other even while they've been in the breeding in the show cage, and so because of that, I think it's worth giving them a go. The cockbird we had in the breeding cages right at the beginning, and we didn't manage to get anything off him. I did say then that he is getting to the end of his I suppose breeding age, so and because he is probably still, looking at him here, he's in wonderful condition at the moment, even though he's getting on a bit. He's a 2020 run bird, but he's still looking like one of the best birds I've got in my shed. He's got lovely above the beak look about him, but lacks a little bit around his length in the mask. And she actually, although she is quite closely related to him, has a longer mask than he has, and you may be able to just make out that the got slightly longer feathers, so that the spots on her are longer. So I'm hoping that will add it to the offspring. He's a really nice sized bird. But when she does stand, she is quite a nice looking bird, but a very henny bird. Lacks a bit of width that I'm hoping he will give to her. So we will have to wait and see how this pair get on. But given that they have been mating in the flight, they're feeding each other in the flight, feeding each other in the breeding cage, in the show cage, I think I would be silly not to give this pair a go. It's likely that she's going to start laying in the flight anyway, so I may as well capture those eggs in a nest box. Right, so that is the next pair. This pair will go into cage number 6. I will remember this time to make sure that the cage door is open. When I say the cage door, the one that the nest box is attached to. If you don't know what I'm talking about there, go back and look at the last episode. So I will make sure that's the case, although the nest box of course will remain closed for a short while, couple of days, 2 or 3 days. Anyway, let's get these into cage number 6 then. Well, I've taken that pair now and popped them into cage number 6, and I've done something slightly different this time than I normally do. Normally I keep the nest box closed for about 2 to 3 days. Almost immediately I popped this pair in here. The hen was at the nest box and trying to get into it, and as I've seen them mating in the flight, I decided this time round that what I would do is open the nest box straight away. It is still full, so it's still got lots and lots of bedding in there, so the hen will have to clear the nest box out. But I thought, my thinking is that, this pair is already bonded, they're already mating, or there has been some mating in the flight, so hopefully that mating will continue in the breeding cage, and the hen might be closer to wanting to lay than perhaps a pair that haven't already bonded and already started mating. So I just thought this time round I would open the nest box up straight away. Touch wood, it hasn't been a mistake. Anyway, so that is just about all we've got time for in this episode. As I say, it was going to be a slightly shorter episode just because I am fairly busy this week with other things, so don't have a lot of time to do very much recording. So if you have enjoyed it, do hit the like button, don't forget to subscribe, but most importantly, as always, do stay safe and enjoy your birds.